Well, this is for future reference 3. Uh, Today's on May 27th. And the sole reason as to why I do this just to remind myself and my potential future audience is that from where I stand, things are not looking really cool for me because I'm literally fighting monsters and demons inside my head, and the only way that I could self-regulate is by indulging in my own inner monologue. Now, for me to not feel like I'm going insane, I document it for future reference because I'm like, well, this is my downfall moment. I could just call it that. So, in case I stumble upon my retribution moment, then I would look back to this and I'll be like, well, I kinda did trust the process, and there I would be because right now I'm still languishing in my own despair. So I'm here, this place, commonly known as Hilltop. You know, 1 year from now, I think I would have already released Entanglement. And for the few who would have, the, for the few who would have the opportunity to read Entanglement, then that place that I wrote in there, Hilltop, well, is exactly where I am right now as I record this. I feel so numb, like I'm in hell, you know, and I re-emphasize I know that I'm in hell because I am unable to love. So I just indulge in drugs, you know. I walk this out all by myself. I'm taking drugs, but they don't help. My voice is nothing when I'm screaming out for help. 1 year from now, I don't know where I would be in life. You know, I do not have the script, but fingers crossed, I wouldn't be this disoriented as I am right now and lonely and feeling nothing but sad, detested, you know, unworthy. I have high hopes for this place, you know. I really dreamed that one day I would get the chance to bring her to this place. And we would just be here, and it would be awesome because then at least I wouldn't be alone as I am right now, as I have always been, I guess. And my lungs hurt, my lungs hurt, and I know the reason why. Still I do it. Still I do it because I am chasing that temporary reprieve. I am forcing myself to forget, but it doesn't work. Really, it doesn't work because it's temporary. You know, it's not like I could just get amnesia, you know, and my world would stop being so black and white, and I would start living, you know, as if nothing ever happened. Yeah. On paper, where are you supposed to be right now? Well, not where I am right now. On paper, I would be chasing my dreams. And yeah, am I still optimistic? Well, it comes and goes. It comes and goes. Right now, I can't just say firmly that I am optimistic about the future. I can't. I can't. Because one thing that I've learned, from the 2 decades that I've been down here on this plane, is that life itself is unpredictable. And I feel like I'm in control, but my dreams, well, they tell a different story. And I cannot decipher the meanings behind some of my dreams because they are just so wild, you know. And I try, I try to connect the dots. I try to fix the puzzle. I can't, I can't. It's like if I managed to do so, then I would get a leakage of the script and I would know how the future would unfold. But I can't, I can't. So I'm just playing my part, you know. Sometimes I feel like I'm in control. Sometimes I feel like I ain't in control, And on those rare occasions that I feel that I ain't in control, I surrender. It comes like a relief. I'm like, well, at least I'm not in control, So I want, I would use that to justify some of the things that would unfold. But I don't like the idea that I'm not in control of my life, you know, because what's free will if you can't use it? If everything is predetermined, then that shatters the whole idea of us having free will. But I know that we are limited by the construct of the society, and that alone, is a huge indication that none of us are in control really. We are all just puppets. So I'm down here, playing the games of love to try and avoid the depression. I have visited a place more often, and each time I haven't really been successful in getting the chance to see her. But I feel like it's my own doing because I am lowering the probability of getting to see her by showing up at her place when it's way too late, you know. Because a part of me feels like she would not accept this current version of me. Because this current version of me is it's not really that good, you know. And another thing is that I find it really hard to navigate through relationships when I'm so used to my own company, you know. To me, a day without a moment of just me being alone is a day wasted. I dread to be alone, yet at the same time, I feel alone even when I'm surrounded. It's funny, but it's true. So I come here and I imagine scenarios in my brain, scenarios that some I wish to manifest them into reality. For instance, where I am right now, I really wish to bring her over here one day and and I would just feel alive. Because as I said in the beginning, if I get to do that, at least I wouldn't feel alone. At least it would fill that void, you know, of boredom. At least, yeah. But in case it turns out well for you, I can only say that. And the definition of turning it out well for me would be, I wouldn't be homeless. I wouldn't be jobless. I wouldn't be so alone like I am right now. Zero friends, zero confidence, zero talking stages. Just me, my thoughts, and drugs. Sometimes my thoughts, well, I'm like, if I allay my anxiety, I would be so great. Because this shy and introverted trait was never me to begin with, but life circumstances forced me to embrace this personality because I'll be honest, it was a defense mechanism. Because when you get so used to not being heard, you coil up and you just recluse and you start living your life as a hermit. Well, there's also advantages and disadvantages of the same. I would say the biggest disadvantage is that sometimes it's not enough. You know, sometimes my own company is not enough, and I admit. But other, on the other hand, the biggest advantage is that in this world, no matter what one does, you know, we were always meant to be alone. Particularly in my case, I feel like I have extra ribs. Yeah, because love, well, it feels foreign to me. You know, I I don't have much experience when it comes to love. Loving somebody, being in love. I'll say the last time I was genuinely in love was when I was concluding my high school studies, and that is roughly 2.5 years ago. So I had this beautiful girl. I genuinely was in love with her, you know, and I can say this in my experience. To be in love with somebody, well, how do you know that you're truly in love with somebody? Well, I would say this. I wasn't lasting for her, you know. Like I felt like her presence was enough. Just that was enough. Just being close to her was enough, you know, because she elevated my mood. She made me so happy. Like I can recall that. I can recall that feeling when I had somebody to call mine. But then, as fate would have had it, it wasn't meant to last. You know, just as I was starting to feel the spark, she went like, I gotta tell you something, babe. We can't be together. And again, my heart got shattered. And that wasn't for the first time. I I remember when that happened, I had just picked up the pieces and I was ready to heal, you know, and then she shattered it again. That was a long time ago. Fast forward to now, I've really been acquainted with some of the beautiful girls that exist, and at times, I would feel like I wouldn't be able to manage. I feel like, or rather, I felt like at the end of the road, I would get my heart shattered. So I just never even attempted. I never risked my heart. I never fully healed. You know, even right now, you know, I'm just on my own, and I really wish that wasn't the case. But I just can't sit here and wish that that wasn't the case. Yeah, I can't. But at the same time, I feel so limited, and I feel like I don't have a way out. I feel like this suffering loop, you know, would never end. But I'll admit that deep down, I do have that glimmer of hope that things would fall back into place and I will start living again. I would get out of survival mode and I would start living. And I would live fully. Right now, I'm so constricted by reality itself. I feel like I'm stuck here in hell. She said it's better, man. She said it's better. You will never heal while still lingering around the crime scene. She also taught me to be selfish, and I lost her. I couldn't even be selfish enough to keep her by my side. I lost her. And ever since I did, well, my life has never been the same. But I hope wherever she is, she's happy. Yeah. I hope life is treating her well, unlike I. And most importantly, I hope I'll get to see her again. I hope that in this storyline, we are meant to cross each other's path again. So this is for future reference. Let's see how 2027, May 27th, you know, would look to you. Where would you be in this life 1 year from now? You know, so you gotta aim higher. You gotta do everything necessary to at least change the current situation to something, something else. Something else, just something that wouldn't mean or wouldn't just leave you down here like, oh my God, oh my God. I even lack the proper words to say. My vocabulary is so disarranged. I'm becoming slow-minded. But hey, snap out of it. Hey, it's life, you know. You'll be alright. Yeah. Hopefully. Yeah, hopefully.